I think my biggest fear is that I will live so many lives on stage that I will miss out on my own.
Today's guest is a rising force on Broadway, soulful, magnetic, and impossible to look away from. You've seen him break hearts as young Noah in The Notebook and sweep audiences off their feet as Christian in Moulin Rouge. But behind the big roles and bigger emotions is a story that's just as powerful. We're talking love, vulnerability, grief, and everything that happens when the curtain falls. From Broadway debuts to reimagining the romantic lead, he's not just playing the part, he's living it. Please welcome the incredible John Cardoza.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. That was
This
so
is going to be
generous.
so much fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. And also, I feel like everyone is just obsessed with you,
Oh my
myself
gosh, that is
included.
very nice of you to say.
No, it is true. I feel like you're everywhere and you're doing all the things, and everything that you're doing is very grounded and sweet. And I feel like it comes from a place of love, which we need
Thank you
more
so
of.
much. Yes, I agree. I think that I don't know. My I guess like artistic philosophy is that everything kind of comes from a place of, groundedness and just art. And yeah, so I feel very lucky to have had the career that I've had so far. Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for
Before
having
we
me.
dive in to the deep things, I have a few questions that I just had to
Please.
ask. So let's get into
Let's
it.
get into it.
Uh, who in your life sees the things you do as really beautiful and meaningful and brand new?
Who in my life sees Oh, I see what you did there. Took me a second. I was in that show.
What? Huh?
Oh my gosh, who in my life sees things as I mean, my family. I'm so grateful for my dad and my sister and my mom who watches from above. We lost her a few years ago, but she's still very connected. And yeah, my family has been, my rock, my cornerstone, my everything. They're the reason for what I do. I wouldn't be here without them. They've made so many sacrifices for me to be here, and so I feel like so much of my success is their success. And so yeah, it's always really exciting to get to share, good news, even the bad stuff. It's just it's nice to yeah, it's nice to feel carried by those people. So probably my folks.
I love that. That is so sweet. And I think it's really important in this crazy business we call show to have such a support system. Like we have our chosen family, of
Yeah.
course, and you have to surround yourself with people who are so loving and so giving and
Yes.
also want to raise you up, knowing that rising tides lift all ships. That
Yes.
there's
Agreed.
if you are shining, that doesn't take away from me shining as well.
Absolutely. I always a lot of people ask about I've been working with a lot of students lately, and a lot of people ask about like chemistry building, and my number one thing is that the people are like, you're never the most important person on stage. And I think that goes for really any scenario, not just on stage, but in a rehearsal room, in at dinner, at anywhere in your life. It's just making sure that the people around you are your focus, and you're interested and not interesting. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And I think that that is the conversation you want to see happening on stage. That's the kind of conversation you have in your life, where you are just really engaged with each other and have a lot to learn from each other. So yeah, I agree.
I'm sorry. I just want to take a moment and be like, oh, we're having a conversation and I'm not just staring into your
Yeah.
eyeballs. Because what? Um, there was this fun game I remember seeing on like Jimmy Kimmel where it's like, did this person from The Bachelor say this? Was this from a movie like The Notebook? Or was this like a line? And I'm like, was that all a line? I'm like, no, you just came up with that off the top of your head. How dare you? Okay, speaking of chemistry, who is your Broadway crush?
My Broadway crush? Oh, there are so many. I feel like I have oh my gosh, I have talent crushes like you wouldn't believe. I'm gonna give my Broadway crush today to I'm gonna give it to Solea Pfeiffer. I'm gonna
I
give it
think
to her
she's
today.
everyone's
Yeah.
Broadway crush.
She's been a real like such a rock for me, especially over the last 6 months. And we've really just fallen deep in love with each other. And I love seeing her in anything that she does. I love her take on just her approach to artistic work. And yeah, I just like I find her to be such a wonderful presence, both on stage and also in life. She's so kind, so funny, so warm to be around. So I'm gonna give my Broadway crush to Solea Pfeiffer a shout out. Love you, girl.
That was so sweet. Yeah, anytime I've seen Soleil on stage, I'm just like, how does this person exist? Because there are people who you see that are like wildly talented and beautiful, and you're like, but they can't possibly also be nice.
Uh,
And I'm like, no, everyone who sees both Soleil and then you, everyone's like, no, they're fantastic.
no, I have been extremely lucky with my co-stars. I've gotten very close with so many of them over the years, and you spend that kind of time with each other developing these characters. I mean, you spend so much time together. You're swapping a lot of spit and sweat and snot,
So
and
much.
you get so comfortable with each other. You're laughing with each other, and they really do become, like you hope and you pray that the people you work with are able to become friends beyond, the work environment. And so I feel very fortunate. The ladies that I've worked with, Jordan Tyson, Solea Pfeiffer, Courtney Reed, of course, my love, Haley Kalim Wright, like these women have been, I couldn't have done any of the things that I'm doing without them. They are they are so much of my performance.
Which show did you have more fun with? The Notebook or Moulin Rouge?
Oh, that's Sophie's choice. That's Sophie's choice. I'll tell you what, I really, really, really enjoyed. I mean, I enjoyed both of them. So it's hard. It's like apples and oranges, but I really, really enjoyed touring. I am kind of like a nomadic person at heart, and so touring with Moulin Rouge, that was my first time touring. I was only out there for 6 months, which flew by in the blink of an eye, but it was just so much fun to like see all these new parts of the country and to bring art to those areas where people were so appreciative and so enthusiastic and so receptive to what we had to offer. They were incredible audiences to perform for. And I love when you're working at this sort of like high caliber sort of thing outside of Manhattan. You really have to bond in a different way because you are the community that you're traveling with, that becomes your sort of like that becomes your pod, your family. And so there's a bonding that happens on the road that is like unlike anything else. It's so much fun. And I'm so grateful for that time bringing me so many close friends. Like of course Courtney Reed, who is, will be in my life to forever, to kingdom come, and also to Tyler Logan, who designed this beautiful space that we're sitting
It
in
is
with Krista Rodriguez. It's
unreal, this
amazing.
space. So, for reference, if anybody's not physically
Hmm.
watching this, we're in the Stay Gold Suite at the Chat Wall in New York City, and it is gorgeous. Krista
Gorgeous.
Rodriguez and Tyler Logan nailed it. The space is insane.
Yes, a man
I
of
am
many
obsessed.
talents, Tyler Logan. But we met
Truly.
on the Moulin Rouge tour, and this room was unveiled between two shows on like it must have been a Saturday or a Wednesday, and so I wasn't able to come see the room. So I'm finally getting to see the room, and it's so stunning. And but yeah, shout out to Tyler. He's a multi-talented guy,
Truly. Also,
and Krista, who I mean,
just
how she
wow.
comes up with these things, I
It
I
makes
don't
no
know. It's
sense.
really gorgeous.
Have you seen the dressing rooms Krista has designed?
A couple of them, yes, I
Jeremy
know,
Jordan's
really
for
amazing,
Gatsby was unreal.
wild. It doesn't even look like the same space.
No.
The before and afters are crazy. It's really she has such a gift.
Absolutely. Okay, if you could duet with any Broadway legend, who would you choose?
Oh, oh my gosh, Bernadette Peters. I don't know what that would sound like.
I don't know, but I would
But
watch it. I'd
I
listen.
don't know how like what we would do together, but she is to me just like the embodiment of that like era of Broadway that really caught me and like I fell in love with. And she is sort of like my Broadway diva fighter of choice.
Same,
Always. I
same.
love her. Oh,
I
the
recently saw
range is
it's insane.
incredible.
Even
Oh,
from the days of like one of my favorite movies of all time is Roger and Hammerstein's
of
Cinderella with
course.
Brandy.
Of
And
course. An
I
awakening for all of us.
oh, everyone. I mean, the things that they were doing at that time, like an Asian prince, like a
Mhm.
black princess, and like what?
Yes.
Bernadette Peters as the evil stepmom? Excuse me, yes.
Incredible. And she's just like so, oh my gosh, her presence, her voice, her everything. That whole cast was so every single one of them was like an icon in their own right. So like I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get another like musical theater film staple that feels quite so nostalgic
Mm.
and um and just strong. Every performance in that movie is a knockout.
It
Oh, it's
truly
so
is.
good.
Is there a revival of a show that you would really like to see?
Ooh,
There's so
that's
much
a
good stuff right
that is a
now.
really, really good question. I mean, I always wanna see Sunday in the Park with George on a stage anywhere. I would also love to see, I thought it was gonna happen a couple years ago, but Light in the Piazza is one of my all-time favorites, and I would
Is it
love to see
officially not
that.
happening?
I have no idea. Maybe it's in the works
I want
somewhere.
it
I
to
hope it's still
be.
in the works somewhere. I was not in town for the City Center production, so I'm hopeful that they will remount that somewhere. I don't know.
Yes.
But I would love to see Light in the Piazza back on a Broadway stage.
What is your irrational fear? I live in fear of an air conditioner falling on me in New York City.
An irrational fear.
Yes.
Actually, I don't know how irrational that is. That sounds terrifying.
It happened to people. It's
Yeah.
happened.
I co-sign your irrational fear. Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Um, I don't know how irrational it is, but I heights really are a thing for me. So I struggle in tall buildings, which is a difficult fear to have in Manhattan.
Yes,
You know, I
correct.
spend a lot of time in tall buildings, and I try not to get too close to the windows. You get that like I love a roller coaster, but you know that like
Ooh,
stomach drop feeling that you
yes.
get when it first goes over the thing? Like I get that feeling when I look out a window. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, don't get me too close. And it's so I don't know, I guess tall buildings?
That's fair.
Because I also can't really like look up at them. If I look up at them, it also makes me feel a certain type of way, you know?
That's a good irrational fear. I feel like that's less bizarre than an air conditioner falling on you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how irrational it is. It feels very rational to me.
I agree. I agree. Okay, so what are you scared of in general?
What am I scared of in
Yeah, it
general?
can be serious, it
No,
can
this
be
is this is
silly.
actually a really great question. I was actually just having this chat with some friends the other day just because we were, like, getting into it. I don't know. And something that has come up a lot is, so we lost my mother in 2020, in August of 2020. It'll be 5 years this summer, and that just really shifted my perspective on mortality and the way that we spend our time, and it was a very unexpected loss. So to wake up one morning and just find out that that relationship is no more or has taken on a different, you know, it will never exist in the same way again. It has led me to sort of like look at the people around me uh differently. And so I love this thing that I do so much. I love acting. I can't imagine my life without acting and without performing. But it is a schedule and a career that demands so much of your time and of your body and of um, just your everything. And to really move ahead in this career, it's sort of like that age old thing that we hear when we start falling in love with it, where it's like this is a really tough career and you have to keep going, and the work never stops and you're always hustling. We love the hustle. I think my biggest fear is that I will live so many lives on stage that I will miss out on my own. You know what I mean? Um, as artists, so much of what we create is based off of our lived experiences, and what happens when all of your lived experiences are at work, and you start creating more and more and more with less and less and less. Does that performance still fill you up the way that it would if you'd had the time to breathe in between? But you have to keep working because that is the nature of life and of this business, and I will continue to find my way in this industry, and I will continue to give as much of myself to it as I can because I do feel connected to my purpose when I'm on stage and when I'm really dropped into something and when I'm out there with a scene partner like Jordan Tyson or Courtney Reed or Solea Pfeiffer, and um you're really present with each other. Like there is something that happens in those moments that really can't be described when and connecting with an audience in that way. So I will always keep this in my life, and I will always want to give as much of myself as I can. But the more I work, the more I realize how much time is passing, and that the people around me that I don't see while I'm at work every day are, I'm missing a lot of their lives. It was uh, a real eye opener to me. I worked a job that conflicted with my sister's wedding. And I told, before we sat down to negotiate any part of that contract, I told him, I was like, I need these days off because my sister is getting married. And they were like, we can't give you that time off. So I had to turn the job down. And it was, 4 or 5 months of work. But I was like, those 4 or 5 months cannot be more important to me than watching my sister get married. That will only happen, ideally once in her life. And
Yes.
I that was something that's irreplaceable to me. And they did come back and they ended up working with me and they gave me that time off and it was a very quick turnaround. I
Fun.
truly like I did a it was the opening weekend of that event and so I did the performance on opening night. I flew home the next day. I was there for the wedding. I flew home the next morning and I did 2 shows that afternoon. Like got off the plane, went straight to the theater. So it was a very very quick turnaround, but I was grateful to them for working with me um and yeah, but that is just to highlight like, yes, we give so much of ourselves to this and we can't forget to the importance of our lives, the lives of the people that we love. It's so it can we have no idea how much time we have with them. So I don't know. Yeah, that's my thing is like making sure that I'm still living while I'm giving as much of myself to this career that I love so much. It's a really difficult balance to find, and I'm sure that all of my actors and artists out there know what I'm talking about when you come up to those big choices where it's like, this is something that can really change my life, but also I don't wanna miss out on the moments that change the lives of the people I love. I have to be there to support them, or who's gonna be there to support you, you know? It's tough. That's tough.
I am so grateful that you shared that because it's so scary to talk about these things.
Yeah.
There's so many things that come up for me when you're talking about that. Oh, I gotta keep it together. A few years ago, I lost someone due to addiction, and
Mm.
I gotta get it together. But one thing that helped me is the idea that that grief is unexpressed love,
Mhm.
and I think when you lose someone and then you have these moments, I mean, it's reality check, right? Like you
Yeah.
see, like that time is not promised to anyone, and
Mhm.
what a thing that is. Because then it's one thing you hear it, and you're like, okay, like even in the Notebook, you hear like time, time, time,
Yeah.
like
That
you
is the
think
essence of that. The
you
core of
think
that show
there will
is
always be more,
yeah.
and you don't expect to not have it.
Mhm.
And so I'm so sorry to hear that you lost your mother in that way. Like that is such a painful thing. It is also one thing that comes to my mind is like, what a beautiful thing it is to have loved someone that
So
much.
much.
So
So
much.
much and has really become the pillar of, like, my artistic work ever since. I feel like I metabolize the material that is handed to me so differently now than I did before. I feel like a deeper need to make art now than I think I ever did just because so much I mean, my parents, uh, like I said earlier, like, they are the reason that I'm here in more ways in so many ways, like, so many layers of ways, and so I s in s in everything that I do, I'm like, I need to give all of myself to this because it's for both of us, you know? It's like, the sacrifices that they made are integral to everything that I'm doing now. So I need to keep going because I need it all to be worth it. You know what I mean? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And whatever form that takes, that's not to say that like success looks like any one thing, but whatever it is, I need to keep moving towards the things that feel like they are aligned with the kind of artist that I want to be and the kind of art that I want to make. And whatever that path is, I'm open and available to it. But I have to keep going because that's what that's what she wants. That's what they want. That's what I need. That's what I'm here to do. You know?
Have you actually sat down and taken it in that you did choose time with your loved ones over like a role? Because I think it's really hard as an artist to say, like, I think about the things that I've given up as an artist, thinking like, okay, but if I say no to this, will they not think about me for other
Right.
things? What will that mean for my career long
Right.
term?
What does
That
this look like
sucks.
long term? And like especially when you're just starting out, it's sort of it is sort of trained into us at a young age that you say yes when the work comes and and I've worked with folks and I've learned from teachers who have made the difficult decision of going with the work and all of these things have value and have reason and have merit and um but yeah, it's a difficult decision to make, and it's also a decision that I think is really difficult for folks outside of you to understand, you know?
Yeah.
Um, because these roles that contribute to our career and our experience and our everything, like, those are also so important. Um, I mean, baseline, that's how you pay your bills, that's how you get your
Right,
health coverage, that's how
right.
you do your thing, you know? Like, that is a piece of it, but also, like, when something is really calling to you, if you are an artist and a piece is really calling to you, usually there's something so wonderful to be gained just from delving into that work with the people who are inspiring you, et cetera. So that could be a really difficult thing to let go of, but I have to draw the line at family, you know? I'm like, nothing will ever trump being present.
Oh.
Freudian slip. Oof. Woo, that was spooky.
That was spooky. Ooh.
Nothing will ever, I'm gonna use different, verbiage here. Nothing will ever be more important than being with my family in the moments when they need me. Nothing. Um, and there have been a few moments in my career where I've had to make that difficult decision, and I never regret being with my family when they need me.
Well, The Notebook is a show that I feel like is so much about
Yeah.
the people you love and the family that you choose. What made you say yes to originating that role?
Ah, I think the better question would be for the creative team and what made them say yes to me
Mm.
because I was, oh my gosh, I was begging the universe for that. I remember when I first heard the material was back in 2019, like winter of 2019, early 2020, and they were doing a Zoom reading.
Oh,
Um,
Zoom.
yeah.
I
Well, at the
hate
time, well,
Zoom.
actually, I should rephrase that. We didn't know it was gonna be over Zoom yet. It was gonna be a workshop that was gonna be in April of 2020, and I was auditioning for Finn, like his friend,
Yes.
who ended up being played by Carson Stewart. Love you, Carson. And I didn't, you know, I the material that I auditioned with was younger Noah's material, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this music is so beautiful. I would do anything to be a part of this project." I got very, very fortunate, was cast in that reading that ended up taking place over Zoom because obviously the workshop was no more. Um, but when things were sort of coming back to life, it didn't look like I was going to be able to continue with that. So I had to sort of let it go and hope that there was maybe some future with it down the road as a replacement or whatever have you. And then one morning, I got a phone call from my friend Ellery Ward. Are you familiar with her?
Tell me more.
Okay, so Ellery Ward is sort of like she's a musical theater actress and well, actress in general, but she also is an independent musician,
Ooh, we
and
love
she does
multi-talented
and
people.
she's responsible for. Have you ever heard the folk Sondheim cover albums?
Yes.
That's Ellery Ward. So
Obsessed.
she
I'm obsessed with
yes, she's unbelievable. We
those.
went to college together, and she recorded these Sondheim albums in her closet over the pandemic that really took off. There was a lot of interest, and that has sort of launched her into a larger career as, you know, as an independent musician, as an actress, as, you know, a
She's
composer and
so
arranger. She is so multifaceted, it's not to be believed. But she called me one morning and it was truly morning. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning, I think. And she was like, "Hey, a friend of mine is producing The Notebook, and they need a last minute replacement for younger Noah. Do you want me to give him your name?" I was like, "Yes,
Yes.
please."
Yes, Ellery.
And I called my manager immediately, and I was like, "This is available. All hands on deck. Like,
Let's
we
go.
need to get in there." And they ended up calling me in for an audition, and you know, I was like, "I hope they remember me from the Zoom thing." I was like, "I don't know." It was only like a flash in the pan. It was a week over Zoom, so I was like, "I don't even know if they really remember who I was." But I went in and I ended up getting the offer on that like 2 hours later, which was like it happened. It was so slow and then so fast.
Funny how that
Um,
happens in this
but I
industry.
just knew from the minute I heard that material, I was like, "I'm going to do this. I know that this is for me." I feel so in alignment with who this character is, and I feel so in alignment with what this show is trying to communicate, and then with what but, strangely enough, I think that had I played that role pre-pandemic before really understanding my relationship to the kind of loss that Noah has in the show, um, I don't think that I could have done it with the same, um, understanding, empathy, honesty, and it's which is not necessarily something that you want to understand, but when you do, you want to make something beautiful out of it. So it just was this perfectly aligned moment where I was like, I knew that this was for me. And now I understand that not only was it for me, but I had to wait for it because this is going to help me understand how I need to navigate this time and my own grief and my own understanding of life and how we spend our time with the people that we have while we have them. So yeah, I think truly everything happens for a reason, and there was a reason I had to wait for that role to come to me, and I'm so grateful that it found me when it did because um, it really was like instrumental in navigating some of like the most unbelievable loss of my life. But it gave me a lot. So
I think about the tissue boxes sold at merch, which I somehow did not get. I think everybody I I wanted to see the show so badly because The Notebook is one of my favorite movies. Like, who doesn't love If I'm a Bird, You're a Bird? Like, I mean,
yes,
the Ryan
iconic and
Gosling, it
classic.
was iconic and
Yeah,
classic and so good. But I am someone who I cry easily, I laugh easily, I feel everything here, which I think is great as an
you and
actor.
me both.
Yeah, it's great as an
I'm an
actor, but
emotional guy.
as a human, I'm like, can I just like go to the grocery store and be okay? Like, let me not. I'll see something and I'm like, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, girl, that is two cute dogs smelling each other. You don't need to cry right now.
Oh, no, I think that is I think that is you need to hold on to that, and you need
Thank
to
you.
own that because I think that we have a real resistance to that just as a society, to being vulnerable, and I think I don't wanna misquote. I believe it was George C. Wolfe who said this, but I'm not 100% positive, so don't quote me on this, and I'm not necessarily gonna quote George C. Wolfe on this, but I believe it was him who he was in an interview and he talked about, it was like vulnerability is not something that you can play. It's something that you are or you aren't. And but I really do believe that vulnerability is like it's a muscle that needs to be flexed like anything else. You need to practice being open and available and receptive. And I think the reason that people love Allie and Noah so much is that they see the beauty in absolutely every moment of their lives, even the most mundane. They think it is so beautiful and so important that they write it down in a journal to keep forever. And it's just like these moments in the show that are so we watch them, we're like, "Wow, this is so poetic and so gorgeous," but it happens we all have moments like this. You just have to choose to be open and available to the emotional weight that can come with it if you're open to it. So I say keep crying in the grocery store
Thank you.
because you know what?
Don't you
How lucky
worry.
you are to be
Ah,
moved by something in your everyday life. How special is that?
I I would so much rather be someone who feels things at 100 than someone who
Yeah.
feels things at 100 but hides it or covers it, or someone who just would just rather not feel. Because I think it's really easy to go around in the world and just be like, "I've been hurt. This thing happened. I don't wanna talk to anybody. I don't wanna be social. I don't wanna do any of the things." And what a brave thing it is to go into the world and go, "Okay, I've been hurt. Things have happened that I don't love, and I'm still gonna be here."
Both both I think are examples of an extreme resilience, which is so beautiful on both ends. I think that there's a lot of value to the folks who choose to, put up the walls and guard. It takes that takes a certain sort of lived experience, I think, to build that kind of a thing. And so my prayer for them is that they're able to move through that phase of their life onto a time when they get to maybe let some folks back in. That would be my prayer for them. And for those who are vulnerable, I pray that they have the folks around them to take care of them when it becomes too much, because that in itself is also really, really challenging. And um, but I mean, I have respect for both. Both are continuing to march on in a world that feels increasingly complicated. And um, yeah,
I think that's
but I'm with you.
why
I'm gonna keep crying in the grocery store.
keep crying in the grocery store. I love it. I feel like that should be a song in itself. But I think that's one of the reasons why so many people are drawn to the notebook. I resisted it for so long, so much so that I am pretty sure the tissue boxes were sold out by the time I went to see it. And then I went and saw it, I think literally 4 or 5 times and was openly sobbing the whole way through. And I'm like, somebody help me. I'm unwell.
I'm just so glad, for whatever reason, I like whether you were crying because you walked in and you wanted to cry or you were crying because you were trying to fight it and you just like, couldn't whatever it was. I was just so honored to be in a show that was moving people so much that they felt that was necessary, you know? I'm like, "Oh, how cool to be a part of something that is moving this many people that we had to get tissue boxes to sell at the merch stand," you know? It's like yeah, that I just thought that show was so special. I'm so proud of it. I'm always proud of it. You know, people ask about it, and I'll always take any excuse to talk about how special I think that material was, and I'm so, honored that Ingrid and Becca and Michael and Shelley and Katie all trusted me with their work. That was really cool.
I just think that you and Jordan Tyson need to come back a few
Ah,
years from now. I need you to be middle Noah as well, but I also want you to be older Noah.
that's the
I need to
dream.
feel the feels. I will ugly cry again, and let's give it a little bit of time, and then
I
we'll come
know
back.
Jordan and I have talked about it jokingly, but I'm not joking about
I
it. Powers that be, wherever you are out there, if you wanna revive that show in like what, 30, 40 years and you
Let's do
want
it.
an older Noah and an older Allie, I Jordan and I could be convinced.
Just can you imagine?
Oh, I would love that. I would love that so much.
You know what I it's funny, I just started thinking about, like, where where do you think you'll be in 30 to 40 years?
Oh my gosh.
What do you wanna be doing?
I have no idea, and I think I've reached a point where I've kind of like stopped thinking quite so, like, big stroke about the future. I get you know, when I think about, you know, what I have to do this week, I get overwhelmed, and so it's
Same.
sort of like everything I know that everything is in service to a larger picture and that that will become clear to me, but for so long, I think the goal has been to do what I'm doing now, and oh my gosh, I feel so lucky and so grateful and so proud of what I've accomplished, but I've reached now a phase where I'm sort of reassessing. I'm like, "Okay, I've reached this benchmark. What to me now is feeling really meaningful? What is exciting me? What is calling me towards the next like, what's the next goal? What is the next thing that I wanna reach?" And I don't think that it has completely revealed itself to me yet, so at the moment, I'm just sort of following the path of things that feel right to me and feel exciting to me, for whatever reason, and trusting that those things are in alignment with this bigger picture that will become clear the more I, you know, move towards it. But I'm trying to let things happen as organically as possible. But I mean, all I can say is that I hope that wherever I am in 30 years, that I have, you know, a community of people that I love, a body of work that I'm proud of, and and that I've gotten to I don't know, connect with as many people as I can and see the world, and that's what I hope.
I love that.
We're getting into it. I don't know what I was expecting, but this wasn't it. So this is great. This is fun.
Crying in a grocery
Yeah,
store.
we're crying in the in the
Yay.
outsider suite. Mm, yeah.
Is there something in your life that you're really proud of that you just haven't really talked about lately?
Oh my gosh. Something that I'm proud of that lately that I don't talk about often. Um I don't know if this counts, but I think it should. I think it counts for something, which is that, there have been some you know, when you're really in the thick of of these runs, they are so dense. There's so much that has to be done, and, the upkeep of your body and your mind can be really, really overwhelming, and that can be just as much of a job as the job itself is just really taking care of yourself, and which is there come those times where you feel really burnt out and you're not really sure. There were moments where I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and do this again and keep showing up." And I'm just proud to still be here doing this and to still be in love with what I'm doing and to still have relationships in my life that that fill me up and that you know that make me want to keep going. But yeah, I'm just like, especially right now, this is for my folks out there who are struggling. Like, if you woke up today and you did absolutely anything at all, like, good for you. You know, like I feel like we all go through those waves of time where life just feels like impassably uh sort of dense and navigating that with grace and patience while protecting your peace and also showing up for the people around you, like, that's a full plate right there, and then to add onto it the responsibilities of a full-time job and a company that depends on you and audience members and fans and friends and people who want to support you, like, a lot of responsibility. So I'm just honestly, I'm just proud to still be on my feet.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm somebody who is, I'm a big mental health guy. I think that that is really important, and I think that it's not always evident, and I know that there are a lot of folks in this industry who are fighting through some tough stuff that you would never know about because they step out on stage and they're embodying these characters with everything that they have, and you just sort of are like, "Oh my gosh, like, they're doing it, and they have it figured out, and, like, they made it," and, they go home and they wrestle some pretty big demons, so for me in this moment, I'm proud to have worked through so much of that, and I'm still here, and I know that I have so much left to go, but, if I made it this far, I can make it that far, and if I can make it that far, I'll make it that far. So, yeah, I'm just, like, proud of the life that I have lived that I wasn't sure was going to be possible after, like, losing my mom. Like, whoa, I've done so much with that time that I think she'd be really proud of, and that's kind of like my metric for life at this point when I'm making decisions about anything. It's always like, is this something that she would be proud of? So I'm proud to be here.
Oh my gosh. I just adore you so much.
Thank you.
It is so it is an active choice to show up every day.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we have to remember because I don't know, the world is absolutely beautiful. There's so much good, there's so much
Mhm.
joy. And then a lot of times, especially in today's world, I mean, if I look at the news, really read the news, I don't
Mhm.
think I would ever get out of bed.
Yeah.
Never get out of bed.
And there are people who are there, you know what I mean? And so my heart is with them, and I say, I've noticed this resistance in me to, like, unplugging. It sort of feels like, uh, eh, it's a responsibility in itself to stay connected and involved and to know what's going on, but to for those of you who are in that place where it's like, "I'm not able to get out of bed," for me, I'm like, I'm encouraging you now to take the time you need to unplug. That will be there, like, you take care of yourself so you can fight a stronger battle, down the road, but yeah, tough. It's tough, but it's like you were saying, there is so much good, and a lot of it is the best of it is what's right in front of you, your friends, your family, the oxygen in your lungs, like, and if you can just sort of connect to that, 10% more, another 10% more, I think that sort of slowly pulls you out of the doom scroll of it all, that can be a hard habit to kick, um, because it's designed to suck you in. So it's like, yeah, that's a tough thing to fight off, so I'm with you in that battle.
One thing that really helped me when I was in the midst of like just this, I mean, it was interesting. I had just lost this family member. And then the next day, I got this callback for this audition. It was a callback for this commercial where I was celebrating the holidays with my family.
Mm.
And I was like, there was this moment in the audition where they're like, okay, now pretend like a family member you haven't seen in a while pops up. And the way that I just lost it in this callback. And it
Those
was,
things creep up on you.
oh my gosh. But what's funny is they loved it and they booked me. I booked that. And I was like, it's funny how this is just the art.
Yeah.
And it I mean, I think
'Cause they said, "This person knows how to connect. This
oh my
person knows how
gosh.
to connect. This person loves," and that's what they
Mm,
were looking for is somebody who can love and believably be in this family, right? So
ugh,
it's like and that's what I mean when I say, like, you really have to give so much of yourself to complete these jobs, whether it's a commercial, a TV show, a
yeah,
Broadway show, whatever it is, like, you are expected to sell this idea that you are a member of this family, and so what do? You draw on the people in your lives. So,
yeah,
obviously, the people in your lives are the people in your life is they're very important to you, and they were able to see that through the way
Mm.
that you connected, and so you delivered. But that's how you turn grief into art, you know?
Yeah, I think
That's
it is truly a brave thing to be an artist in this world when everyone is telling you, especially during the pandemic. I remember there were so many people who were just like everyone when the world was down, we were all watching sourdough making videos. I still don't think I know how,
me either.
and the idea of, like, I have to feed the starter. I'm like, what? I feel like during the pandemic, I it was interesting to see how a lot of the world actually feels about performers in a way. Not
Mm,
everybody, but a lot of people are
yeah,
like, "Oh, well, go get a real job." And I'm like, "But your thing when the world is down and everybody's falling apart and things just feel dark, we turn to art."
yeah,
Like, I want people to remember that, like, being an artist is so brave.
yeah. Well, and the business of art around being an artist is a job in itself. So for those who are looking for the real job in being an artist, it's a nearly impossible thing to explain to somebody who doesn't want to understand it. So I don't try anymore, and I just say, "Okay, I know what I do. I don't need to explain that to anyone," you know? And my art is for the people who understand it, and there are those who will come to the theater and they'll see it and they'll know. They'll understand it. And then there are those who won't. My work is not for them. I welcome them. I invite them to see some other shows and see who they do connect with, you know?
Who is Moulin Rouge not for, though?
I have no
Moulin
I
Rouge is for
yeah.
everybody. Excuse me?
You hope, but, everybody's looking for something else. We try to we do the best we can, but you know what? The folks who came to the show and were receptive to it, I'm grateful to them, and to those who weren't, hey, thanks for coming and giving it a try. I appreciate you too.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming and giving it a try and having your opinion. Respectfully, your opinion is wrong. Excuse you. I mean, seeing you on the stage, seeing Solea descend from the
Descend from the
ceiling, I'm like,
ceiling.
excuse you? Incredible. Incredible. So you were on the national tour for Moulin Rouge. The world fell in love with you as Christian. I mean, I was just like, are you kidding me? How are you so kind and attractive and talented? And then you decided to come as Christian on Broadway. What
Mhm.
was it like coming from the regional life and touring, which you loved?
Yes, I
Still
did.
surprised by that.
I really loved it. I did. Um, oh, it was that was a really incredibly, well-timed and incredibly welcomed opportunity. I'd been doing y I wasn't sure if the tour was gonna happen because we weren't sure what the timeline was for The Notebook yet. So when I was going through that audition process, the decision making was kind of held up as we were trying to navigate that, and thank God Moulin Rouge took a chance on me because there was a world where I was only gonna be able to do it for 3 months, and which is not something that they were looking for a longer commitment to that, which I understood, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, I hope that this works out. What an opportunity." Um, and I ended up doing the tour for 6 months, which was absolutely incredible, but also was so fast, and, like, when that came to an end, it felt so premature to me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm just kind of starting to really find my footing in this and understand you know, how much there is to be mined in here." So I was hopeful that it would come back around. Went into The Notebook, had our run, we opened and we were in it, and it was amazing, and then towards the fall, I Jordan Tyson did not know, but I had a feeling, and I was pretty certain that Jordan was going to be offered Gypsy. I knew that she was going through the audition process, and she'd had a few, callbacks at that time, and I was like, "I have to start preparing myself for Jordan's departure," which is gonna be tough because 'cause we've been building that show together and that relationship together for 3 years, um, and I had to come to terms with the idea of finishing that whole process without her, which was gonna be tough. And then Moulin Rouge called, and, uh, they were like, "We have Solea Pfeiffer attached to Satine. We think you 2 would be a great pair together, like, would you be interested?" Of course. And I thought to myself, "Okay, if Jordan is taking off," and I learned very soon after that that she was, I was like, "This feels like too much of a coincidence." I was like, "This is the opportunity for me and Jordan to finish what we started together." It allowed for 2 people to come in and make their Broadway debuts.
Incredible.
Benji, who I ran into this morning, Benji Santiago, like, what a star, and Anna Zavelson. So they both got to make their Broadway debuts in this beautiful show together, which felt really special to share with them. all of it just felt very serendipitous and, yeah, I don't think I could have finished the show with anybody else, you know, Jordan, that was we built that together um, so yeah, everything happens for a reason. But coming back into Moulin Rouge, oh my gosh, it was like getting shot out of a cannon because that process was so fast. You know, we had 2 weeks and I was doing double duty at the time, so I was rehearsing Moulin Rouge during the day and performing The Notebook at night for those 2 weeks and then went straight into the show the following week. So
Gosh.
it felt so crazy and then, but I feel like, once Soleil and I really found our groove, we were able to really I'm so proud of the work that we did in that show. And I was just talking to her last night and because I haven't seen her now in person in, like, a week, 2 weeks,
That feels
which feels
wrong.
wrong and crazy, and so we were just sort of, like, catching each other up on our lives, and it came up that we were just, like, really, really proud of the work that we did together, so that feels really nice it feels good to feel good about what you're doing, you know? Yeah.
I know a handful of people who've literally seen Moulin Rouge literally 40 plus times. So
Yes. The fans are devout. We are so grateful for them. I've met some really, really wonderful folks, by way of that show, on stage and off. Some fans who have become friends, like, it's just yeah, there's some really you can meet some really great people, and one of my favorite things that happens is when I meet a group of young people who this just happened on my last show. A group of young people came up to me and told me that they had all met because of their love of the show, and they're from different corners of the country, but they like would arrange these trips to come see the show together and get to spend time together and like share their love of theater together. And I was like, how cool that this thing that I'm a part of is bringing people together in this way from all over the country who are now tight-knit friends who would have never interacted with each other, otherwise, like, that's cool. That's a really cool thing. To love something so much that it brings you together across that kind of distance is really special. So, yeah, I'm so proud to be a part of that show's legacy. That's cool. That's a very cool thing to be a part of.
it's a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
I mean, what a journey to do it, to do the tour and then to do it here as well. Like, how did the performance change from when you were doing it on the tour versus actually on like the Great White Way?
Yeah. Um, it was a couple things. Uh The Hirschfeld is such an intimate space. It doesn't necessarily look like it when you're out in the house, but when you're on stage and you look up at the Hirschfeld, audience versus something like the Fox in Atlanta or the Kennedy Center, Opera House, or like those those tour houses are so massive and so expansive that you really everything needs to be kind of heightened in a way physically and vocally that it's reaching everything in the back of the house because those folks aren't necessarily going to be able to come into you. There's enough distance between the stage and those seats that you have to come to them. But at the Hirschfeld, they can come to you. You can pull them in, and so everything can live in a little bit of a softer, more subtle place. And um, yeah, finding that returning him to the earth was sort of the process of the first couple weeks of Moulin Rouge on Broadway was sort of like taking this thing that had to be big enough to fill a tour house and bringing it down for, an intimate setting was a little bit of a shift and a challenge, but made room for so much more nuance and so much more, uh, there were so many moments where it just kind of felt like, it's almost like film, like, you can really hone in on the details. So I think that was, like, the biggest difference, and then also just again, it's the way that you bond on a tour versus the way that, when you're in Manhattan, you really have to put in an effort to connect with your company because we all have our lives here, you come to work and you go home, um, but luckily, a lot of the folks that I got to do the show with, I also toured with because a lot of us transferred at the same time, so it
Love
felt
it.
like a reunion. It was really, really special, and yeah, no, I love touring and I loved being on Broadway. I That company has been so good to me, and I'm really grateful for them. I wish them many, many more years of success.
Would you ever air your way back in?
Um,
I think we should start using that as a verb, by the way.
I don't know, honestly. I, the I would never say no. You know what I mean? Like, I would absolutely at the moment, at this moment, um, I'm really, really proud and content with the work that I did there, and I am so thrilled to know that there will be other folks who will step into it and have the opportunity to play that role. And at this current stage of my life, um, I really gave a lot of myself to Christian, and I I'm grateful for that time and that growth, and I'm ready to apply the lessons that I learned to the next thing. But you know, any after a little bit of healing and recovery, if that phone call came, I love those folks. I let's be real, I would probably say yes.
I love it so much.
I would
I
probably
appreciate
say
the
yes.
honesty.
I
Yep,
would
yep.
probably say yes.
Especially if Solea was there, like, hands
Oh
down,
my
let's go.
gosh,
I'm in.
yeah, I'm like, because the real thing with that is that, like, Solea and Courtney, who are my 2 principal Satines, and I also did it with, Yvette Gonzalez Nasser um, uh, and even my alternates, Gabby McClinton and Haley Clean Wright.
Shout
I've done the
out.
show with
Ugh,
Nikki Claspel, I've done the show with, Raven Bailey. I've done it with 7 Satines at this point. But the women that you do that show with are such powerhouses because they have to be. Not only that, but they've all been so lovely, and, like, the fact that I have bonded with them with the way that I have, I really feel like I have a friend in each of those ladies, and, that's the reason you keep going back, is because it's like, "Oh my gosh, who am I gonna meet this time, and how special is it going to be?" Like, those are some of the most incredible folks I've had the pleasure of working with, and so the reason to go back is always, "Who am I gonna meet? Who am I gonna connect with?" So, probably I would say yes. But at this current moment in my life, I'm looking to I'm looking to continue my career in other ways.
I love that so much. One thing someone said to me a while ago that has always stuck to me is that you are a collection of the people you've met and the
Yeah.
people you've loved. And I think that is just one of the most poignant things. And I feel like that's a recurring theme with you of you have been changed by all these
Oh
people.
my gosh, yeah.
And what a gift that is.
What a gift. And, the thing is that, the people that you work with, like, they have to want it too. They also have to be receptive and open to it. So, how much of this is me and how much of this is them, who's to say? But I just, like, I feel so, so, so lucky that I can truly say that every co-star that I've had on any project so far has been so wonderful and so ready for that relationship to be as special as we wanted it to be. And, yeah, I'm lucky that I get to a lot of people ask me if I was, like, sad to be leaving Moulin Rouge, and I was like, there's a bittersweet element to it because you don't get to do the show every day, but it's impossible to really feel sad when I get to walk into the world with more friends than I had going into it. Like, that's joy.
That is joy.
Yeah.
Well, what is next for you? What joy are you choosing next?
Well, immediately, I am really trying to reinvest in, the relationships around me because I have been so focused on, work. Um, I want to make sure that I am giving the right amount of time to my family, to my friends. Um, that being said, I do have a project coming up that is
Ooh.
brand spanking new. Like, we got the official offer today, so but this will be the time marker. This is like the time capsule that I'm like, this was the day that this happened. And I'm so excited about it. I feel so ridiculous when I'm like, I can't say too much. That's like the actor thing,
I love
where,
it.
where they're like, well, I can't tell you. I don't mean to be so cagey, but it really just isn't my information to share. But it is something that I'm really looking forward to. I think um, it will be kind of an unexpected thing. It's very different from from the kind of work that I've been doing, and I think it's gonna really stretch me and push me, um, as a performer, as an artist, as an actor. It's gonna challenge me to sort of, like, look at storytelling in a new way um, and to use my body and my voice differently, and, so I'm really, really excited about the opportunity that I have to sort of, like, face those challenges head on and grow. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to sharing it when the time is right. And yeah, can't wait.
John, you are so lovely. You are
Thank you.
deserving
I
of
think you're
every
so
good thing.
lovely. This was such a lovely chat.
This
Thank
was
you.
perfect. I knew when we had the matching outfits, we're like, we're gonna be
Yes, we were
fine. We're
ready
gonna
to
be
go.
fine. Well, thank you so much. You are so kind. You are vulnerable. I mean, I feel like all the people you surround yourself with, everyone loves you. Everyone
Thank
loves you.
you.
I
That's
mean,
very, very kind
it's
and
very
always
kind, but
lovely to
it's
hear.
true,
You do the best you can, you know?
Yeah.
We're all walking through the world just trying to make it to the next day, and
Yeah.
to be as good as we can as kind as we can to the people around us, and so, yeah, so to hear something like that is really, really calming and really lovely, and, so thank you for sharing that with me. I
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
Hold my hand forever.
Please,
Thank you so much for being
anytime.
done. I
Thank
mean,
you
I
for
will be
having
here.
me.
Thank you for being here. You are an incredible human, and I really cannot wait to see your next thing.
Thank you so
Thanks for being on
much.
Had to Ask. I'm
Anytime.
obsessed.
I'm obs
This episode of Had to Ask was hosted and produced by me, Melanie Sutrathada. Filming, editing, and co-production by the amazing Joseph Loper. Filmed on location at the iconic Stay Gold Suite at the Chatwall in New York City. Make sure to follow, leave a rating, and subscribe. It helps the show grow and gets us one step closer to world domination. See you next time on Had to Ask.